In this conversation, I will talk about freedom of speech with my friend's sake. I want to quote one Chinese philosophy before talking about freedom from speech. Out of mouth comes evil. Even when we reach our 2048, we should still remember to watch out our mouth. In my opinion, I don't think that Chinese government takes some people's freedom from speech is a very bad thing, and America had a serious lesson of speaking too much. Do you think whether Americans use freedom of speech properly?
Well, Daisy, the Americans are Americans, the Westerners are Westerners. I am an African and I am an African. We have our own traditions, they have their own traditions and cultures. So the way they use their freedom of speech is the way they were taught and the way they were brought up, and they are using it according to their culture. But to me, the Americans are people who have never been and will never be satisfied with anything and in any way, from their president to their teachers and to their parents at home. That's why out of the 8 American presidents who died in office, 4 of them were assassinated. From the first president to the present day Barack Obama, they are never satisfied. They've never been satisfied, and they will never be satisfied, even though they are the ones who chose them as their leaders, or to be their leaders. Their unsatisfactory tendencies leads to egotism, which characterizes most Americans and Westerners as a whole. Talking too much doesn't make sense sometimes. They just want their government to do everything for them. Even those who are not working, they want to earn money. They want government to give them money. This is all because they were not taught that there is no free meal in this world. To earn a living, to have food, to have a meal, just a single meal, you need to work. And the pressure that the citizen put behind the government causes their governments to go out to other countries in search for natural resources, just to give them a better life back home at the detriment of the respective countries or country. That's all I can say about this point. So I think it's not the right way for us, or it's not the right way for us to copy from them. Thank you.
Speaking sometimes is good for the development of society. When we have a freedom of speech, the citizens can make sure our government is free of mismanagement of public funds and promote equality of society. How how do you think the good side of a freedom of speech?
Well, to me, I don't think. Anyway, freedom of speech has a good side. Yeah. I think talking too much can't help in any way. What matters is the Constitution and who rules the country. And it also depends on how and when you talk. Talking at the right time is good. Some people talk because they think they have to talk, not talking because they need change. And this kind of people will always talk, even when it is not the right time to talk. Relating these to China, for example, I think giving this kind of rights to Chinese people is really going to cause a lot of confusion to China. And it's really going to affect the economic development of China. Because the Chinese people didn't have this right in the beginning. The ancestors didn't have this right. So I think it's very risky to introduce it now to a country like China. It's just the same as in Africa. There were certain rights that the Africans didn't have. There are certain things that the Africans didn't know. Most of African cultures are being changed by the West. They try to change the African cultures and traditions and the African mind to introduce their own ways so that it will be easy for them to rule over these people. So I think, since it wasn't in the beginning, it shouldn't be now. Or they can start educating the children if they want it to be. They can start educating the children from now on human rights and freedom of speech so that it can be implemented in the future. But we cannot just implement it now. It's really going to cause a total confusion. Thank you.
I can agree with you at the point. Each country should have its own way to develop, and when it comes to children's education, it might be the best to teach children to be careful about their words when they are growing up, because words hurt people, and hurts can trigger anger, resentments, and resentments can trigger wars, and wars are going to hurt everyone, including themselves. How do you assess my previous statement?
Well, I think what you've just said is really right. It's really correct. But on this point, I would like us to focus on Africa again. I told you in the beginning that I'll only cite my examples to Africa because I'm an African and I know a little about Africa and I know a little about the causes or the problems that Africans are facing today. This is because there is a lot of misuse of or overuse of words out there leading to political instability. Many people misinterpret human rights in Africa, and this is because of the lack of human rights education, which was supposed to begin right at the level of the children. The West came in and started introducing human rights to the Africans without giving them the basic or teaching the kids. They didn't start it at the infant level. They just came and met a group of adults and start telling them that you have the right to fight for your right. And these people misinterpret this fight. They think that the fight for your right is to carry out to use weapons to fight against the government. If you look at it clearly, you will see that those people who use weapons to fight for their rights in Africa, and I think it's really very practical in Africa, that most of them have just elementary education. And they misinterpret human rights as fighting for your rights by using weapons. This group of people are those people who don't enjoy anything or enjoy little from the government. So their hearts are hot and they fight when being triggered by bad advisors. So I think human rights education should be part of the elementary curriculum, not only for the adults, because if you want to teach human rights to the adults, they will misinterpret the human rights and use it in another way. And this accounts for the political instability, the wars, and everything going wrong in Africa today, because people misinterpreted the meaning of human rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we will move to the part 3, and in this part, we are going to talk about the reality of the human rights in Africa.